But I'm telling you, AMD is going to continue to move higher. It's consolidating right now, and it may stay in this range for a while. But once it breaks this range, there's going to be a huge move. It's going to be a huge, outstanding move for AMD.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Trade for Yourself podcast, where my mission here is very simple. I just want to help you learn how to trade for yourself. Make sure you please subscribe. Make sure you listen to this episode from start to finish. I promise you, you will not regret it. Please note that anything discussed in this episode is not financial advice, so please do your own research before investing into any stock. Look, Webull is going to give you 12 free stocks valued at up to $3,000. If you want to get some free money to start your portfolio, it's only a 3-step process. First, click the link in the description of this video. 2, open you up a Webull brokerage account. And 3, deposit any amount of money into that brokerage account. I promise you, Webull is going to give you up to 12 free stocks valued at up to $3,000. Look, if you want some free money for your portfolio, tap in with the link in the description and get you some free money to start your portfolio. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Advanced Micro Devices, ticker symbol AMD. AMD recently reported their earnings, and AMD earnings, it just didn't live up to expectations for what Wall Street wanted. But what I want to tell you is that I believe AMD will still end the year at $140 per share, and I'm going to show you why. Talk about the trade for yourself portfolio, bring up some stocks. Let's see what's going on with the AMD particular stock. Okay, let's get into it.
Hey everybody, so let's take a look at the recent earnings report that AMD just had. So the Q2 23 revenue, they had $5.4 billion, and that was down 18% year over year. Their embedded segment strength was more than offset primarily by lower client segment revenue related to the slow PC market. Now, let's go through what AMD did. Now, the data center revenue was $1.3 billion, down 11% year over year. The client service revenue was only $998 million. That was down 54% year over year due to reduced shipments resulting from a weak PC market and a significant inventory correction across the PC supply chain. So AMD is still dealing with this, and they're still trying to process that. So this is just hurting the business right now temporarily. Gaming revenue was $1.6 billion, down 4% year over year, but the embedded revenue was $1.5 billion. That was up 16% year over year, primarily driven by strength in industrial, vision, healthcare, automotive, and test and emulation markets. Now, I believe this revenue is up year over year because remember that Xilinx acquisition that the company made. That was a very strong acquisition that the company made that allowed AMD to get into so many more end markets. And so that was a very, very good thing. Now, the gross margin was only 46%. That was flat year over year. And the non-GAAP gross margin was 50%, down 4 points year over year. The cash flow from operations was 379 million, and the free cash flow was 254 million. So when we look at AMD, what we understand is that these numbers are pretty pedestrian, right? We like to see more things from AMD. You know, AMD normally delivers more numbers, but these numbers that we got for Q2 is not what's most important when we are talking about this particular company. Is the financial outlook. What is the financial outlook for this company? Now, this is the slideshow that the company presented in their PowerPoint presentation. These are non-GAAP earnings. Now, the main thing that we need to pay attention to again is the guidance. What are we paying attention to moving forward? What are the catalysts that is still going to get AMD to that $140 per share mark that I still believe that the stock will get there by year end? Q3, what is the company saying for Q3? The company is saying revenue of $5.7 billion, an increase of 2.5% year over year. Gross margin, 51%. Operating expenses 1.65 billion, effective tax rate of 13%, and diluted share count of 1.63 billion shares. So if we look at what the company is expecting for the next quarter, these metrics are increasing sequentially and they're increasing quarter over quarter, which is a good thing. Now, for the full year 2023, what's going to get us to where we want to go is going to be the data center and the embedded segments expected to grow year over year. The data center is a big deal because the AI chip is expected to release in Q4. That is a major thing, and that is what I believe will get AMD to that $140 per share level, because on the call, Dr. Lisa Su, the CEO, she talked about how customers, they want that AI chip, and if demand is as good as what she says it is, then gross margin should expand in the second half of 2023, and operating expenses will increase a little bit, but that's because of the on-ramp, right? The company is investing into research and development, and they're investing into their CapEx. They're investing into their products and services to be able to get what they need out to pretty much fulfill that demand. Effective tax rate is going to be about 13%, and the diluted share count is going to be 1.63 billion shares. So the key is that the data center revenue is going to have to increase and the embedded segments is going to have to increase. The AI chip that AMD is expected to release in Q4 has to deliver. The gross margin has to deliver, and the company has to deliver on those metrics in order for the stock to get to that $140 share price that I believe it's going to get to. Okay, so let's take a look at the trade for yourself portfolio. You know, I'm always going to continue to update y'all on what we've got going on in this portfolio. Now, I only have one position in this portfolio right now. This is the AMD January 2025 $140 call. This call is up about 11% right now, up about $372.66. Now, I believe that AMD is going to reach $140 per share. I believe it's going to reach it well before January 2025, and I believe it's going to get there by the end of this year, because I still believe that the company is going to produce well when it releases that AI chip in Q4. That's the catalyst. Now, there was a position that I had to cut. That was the AMD $140 strike for October of 2023, and I cut that position because when earnings came out, earnings were not good, right? So I actually cut it right before that big drop happened on the day after AMD released their earnings. And I had to cut it because I believe that the catalyst to get AMD to $140, it won't occur until Q4 of 2023. So I couldn't hold on to it because I feel like I was going to be pressed for time, and it wasn't going to be a good deal for me to continue to hold on to that position. So I cut that position for a loss, but I'm still holding this position because this is one of those ones I believe is going to hit. It's going to be a significant hit. So continue to stay tapped into the trade for yourself portfolio, because now we're going to go over to the chart and we're going to explain why I believe AMD is still going to possibly move higher. Okay, everybody, we got the chart up, and if we look at this, AMD has been having positive structure all year long. We look at where AMD started. AMD started from the depths, but it continued to start making higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then right here, AMD gapped up. It gapped up, had a high, higher low, higher high, and the stock came down, filled that gap, and now the stock has been consolidating. Now, it gets me very excited when stocks begin to start going into this consolidation phase. And the reason why is because a big move is going to happen for this stock. It's either going to break above this $122.12 level, or is going to break below $107.08. I believe that the big jump is going to be to the upside because AMD has positive structure. This is still a bullish chart, okay? I believe that this stock is going to continue to make higher highs, higher lows. It made this high. I believe this is just a higher low because it had to come and close this gap right here. So we're going to continue to consolidate, and I believe this stock is going to move higher. I have a target of $132.86. That is the year-to-date high, and I have an ultimate target of $141.25 key resistance. And again, what is that going to depend upon? It's going to depend upon that catalyst that we were talking about in the second half. Q4, when AMD releases that AI chip, what is the demand like? What is gross margin expected to be? What is revenue expected to be? That's going to be a big deal. But I'm telling you, AMD is going to continue to move higher. It's consolidating right now, and it may stay in this range for a while. But once it breaks this range, there's going to be a huge move. It's going to be a huge, outstanding move for AMD.
AMD's performance for the remainder of this year is based on one thing and one thing only: AI. AMD is expected to release an AI chip in Q4 of this year, and Dr. Lisa Su, the CEO of the company, said that there is going to be major demand for this particular chip. Revenue is expected to increase, and the gross margin, the profitability for this company, is expected to increase. If AMD delivers on the delivery of that AI chip and it has the demand that the company says it will, AMD will reach $140 per share, and it will be very, very easy to do so. As always, I thank you all for tapping into another episode of the Trade for Yourself podcast. Please like, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be in the know every single time I drop an episode. Reach out to me in the comments. Let me know if you believe in AMD as a company. Let me know if you believe AMD can compete with Nvidia. Let me know what you think about this company, and if you think I'm crazy for thinking the stock's going to 140, or if you're riding with me. As always, remember, don't pay for it. Trade for it. I'm going to tap in with y'all in the next episode.